Hi, I'm Mel Chivuko. I'm a counsellor, writer, and trainer. Today, I want to talk a bit about Married at First Sight. It's my guilty pleasure, you know. It's actually a really interesting show for like dynamics, relationship dynamics, group dynamics. So I kind of enjoy it in that sense. But I've been seeing a lot of stuff online, particularly about grace at the moment, and that's just what I wanted to talk about today, because I'm just feeling really uncomfortable about the way people are speaking about her online. So Grace was set up. Oh, first I should say the stage that I'm at the moment is where Grace and Ash have just had separate couch sessions with the experts when they're leaving. So that's where I'm at, and that's where Grace has said about the bathroom door unlocking incidents as well, which is completely inappropriate. And I know some people are maybe a little bit swayed by that now. Prior to this, and well, still ongoing, I've seen loads of posts online on Facebook, on Instagram, and other things. Absolutely, just with vitriol is the way that I would describe it towards Grace. Now I know that it's reality TV and it's like meant to be drama, and it's, you know, it might be a bit scripted, it might not. I hope in some ways for Grace, for her mental health, that it is scripted in some ways, because it riles people up online so much, but to the point where, and bear in mind, there's been quite a few people on Married at First Sight who've used controlling, abusive behaviours as being proper villains, but Grace seems to be getting a pretty acute treatment of that. I've seen people saying that she shouldn't be a midwife, that she should lose her job. I've actually seen something on her Instagram saying that she has finished her job. So I don't know if she left, or maybe she did lose her job. You know, the power of going on a TV show like this and this kind of narrative potentially could mean that she did lose her job. I've seen people online saying that they want to take legal action against her for her treatment of Ash. I mean, complete strangers taking legal action against someone on a TV program isn't exactly going to work, but it's just a demonstration of how much anger and how much projection there is there, particularly towards a woman. We've had dirtbag men on on maths before. We've got the bad guy Stephen now, yet the stuff that I'm seeing, the hatred towards him, is not what it is about Grace. So I can speculate a couple of reasons why this might be. When she arrived on maths, they set her up as the feminist. And I thought, oh, here we go. This is not going to go well. Because clearly, as demonstrated, feminism is still a dirty word. I mean, I don't know if it ever got any better. I don't know if it ever became okay, to be honest. But I feel like, especially now, maybe with the rise of online misogyny, and maybe it's a bad thing. So you know, when she was she was kind of portrayed as the difficult woman, and all these things that are wrongly associated with feminism, because feminism is actually just about rights and women advocating for themselves, which Grace has been trying to do. But instead, it was given this view of a difficult woman, of like nagging, whinging, sort of. So everything she's done has been seen very much in that context. All she did on the wedding day is become really anxious, because of course she's anxious. She's marrying a stranger. You know, she seemed really anxious and really scared. You know, and I think that, yeah, that seems to me like a fairly average thing. Throughout the conversations with Ash, a lot of things that they talk about seem to have happened off screen. So I think the assumption has just been to believe Ash and not her, again, because of this setup of her being too much, too whiny. You know, and the classic thing with feminists and with women is to not believe them. So Ash has been believed and been protected the whole time. He is a popular person in the group. He seems like a nice guy in that sense, you know, so I can see how that's working. But also Grace is popular in the group as well. If she was really the ogre that everybody is making her out to be, I think the rest of the group would also pick up on that and would try and hold her accountable, like they did with Julia Ruth and, you know, other people in it. When someone's doing something wrong or someone's being mistreated, especially if they thought that she was mistreating Ash, they would have definitely been more, because they were all very much like him, and that's not happened. So I don't think that what we're being shown, it's very difficult to know, isn't it, when we go by, not actually seeing these things play out on camera. At least with Julia Ruth and things, we saw the things play out, we saw the behaviour, but the things that have been that Grace has said about Ash have been things off screen. But why would she lie? What would be the point in lying? People online say she lies all the time. People online call her a narcissist and a psychopath. Like, the amount of times I see the word narcissist thrown around. Like, it's just, can we just stop using the word narcissist to throw around when someone just is perceived as being a bit selfish? I don't think she's selfish personally. I think she's a woman trying to assert her needs. Whenever she came into a conversation to try and reflect, she would be communicating in a way that would be trying to help and to reach and to kind of help figure it out. And Ash was defensive, but not in a Stephen defensive way. Like, that was comically defensive, to be honest, when he just flat out said he didn't know. He was on his phone for 10 minutes, obviously deleting the dating app. It was, oh, look, it's not even that. Anyway, that was quite obvious denial, I think. But I think what Ash has is a more of a nice guy narrative, which it's very hard, and I think he probably feels very defensive when anybody challenges that idea of himself. That's what he has. It's what his family have reaffirmed in him, and he's never really had to challenge that, and finds it very, very difficult when that's even slightly rocked. So I think that he's found it difficult to reflect because of that, and doesn't see any reason why he has to. No, I don't think he's like the world's biggest misogynist. He's not Andrew Tate or anything, is he? But perhaps he's quite. He has said that he's got more traditional views. He has more gender roles, perhaps draws on some gender stereotypes, and I think probably it seems like his sense of humour is a bit more at the expense of women, or at the expense of the old wife, the old ball and chain, wink wink, of just like a lot of people will just go with that and just be like, either just laugh and or just go with it. But Grace is saying actually that after that's not sitting okay with me, which she's perfectly within her right to do, because it's not very funny, and if she feels the butt of the jokes, whilst there's always a concerns over boundaries, for instance, the bathroom thing, picking the lock open, all of these things she's been in a situation where she's out of her comfort zone. She's been anxious. She probably needed some time to herself. The bathroom is literally the only safe space she would have had, and he's picking the lock. So it does throw into a lot more of, we haven't seen these things happen. All we've done, whether we viewers have seemed to have just all sided with Ash, and assumed that she is lying, but we have no reason to why she would be lying. When she said about the bathroom door being picked, she said this happened multiple times. He said, oh yeah, I did that at once, and it was just a laugh. And that was his way of like doing his denial in a less obvious way. So I've noticed that most of the times when she brought something up, he'd say, oh yeah, it was just that once, and that was just meant to be a joke. Whereas, when he said later, he said, oh, I always just did that out of joke. So he's told on himself that. It's been more than once. His strategy has been to go, his strategy has been to take semi accountability, like a tad of accountability, by going, oh yeah, well, I did do that once, but it's just that once, and I know now. But nothing ever changed. Every time he kept doing these things because he says it's part of his identity and part of who he is, and that is telling on himself. What he's saying is these like outdated gender roles and views and stereotypes and borderline sexist jokes and bits of misogyny is part of his identity, and he will not give that up. Now, I'm sure that he could go and find he could probably go and find lots of women who will absolutely fall at his feet now and will overlook that misogyny completely. He will find that if he wants it. And that's the thing. that he never needs to change. And this is part of, I think, an entitlement that some people have, that they never have to change. Because other people will just accept, will accept that. But this could have been an opportunity for him to think, like, actually, why can't you kind of think maybe your views are a bit old school, maybe they are a bit, not, it's not going to be offensive as such. It's not like Grace is being a triggered, crazy feminist, of this, again, that's a stereotype, isn't it? She's not being this. She's someone who's just asserting her boundaries and saying, actually, this probably isn't that funny. I don't like being the butt of the joke. I don't really like it when you pick the bathroom door. I don't like, I don't like these things. Can we work together on this? And the way I've heard her has always been to bring that in lots of kind of I statements. So I feel uncomfortable doing this, as opposed to, you are a terrible person, you shouldn't be doing this. She doesn't kick off like that. She doesn't really shout. People are saying that she sounds whiny and she doesn't cry properly. I mean, like, that's not really an insult, is it? It's just it's her voice. Maybe if that's the worst that happens, then that's the worst of it. I really admire, actually, at one point how she just didn't back down to it and really tried to hold her integrity and her boundaries. Because when she was talking to her friend about it at Homestays, what she described sounded like gaslighting. And it's interesting because everybody in the comment sections online thinks that Ash is being abused. She's the abuser. She's controlling. She's the gaslighter. Whereas actually what she described was gaslighting, because she was starting to feel like she was crazy, and if she's the problem. And again, I think this is the self-doubt that is put into women, and just like, actually, you're just being a bit crazy and over emotional about this. This is why we need feminist views. This is why we need feminism, and people like Grace standing her ground on this, saying, no, it's not too much to assert my boundaries. It's generally just really depressing to see a feminist displayed on TV, knowing from the start that they were going to portray her as a villain. And this is really, really serious, because it's the kind of stuff that I'm seeing online is the kind of thing that often where people will be getting death threats and will be losing their jobs and will be doxxed, and people will go to their house. And I just really, really hope that Grace is safe and is okay and is getting psychological support from the show. It seems like she'd had a pretty bad time with relationships, and maybe had, some trust problems and things before, of having a bad time in the past. Maybe there was some more processing of that to do. But everyone has that on maths. Everybody has abandonment trauma. Everyone's been cheated on. They're all bringing this into the experiment as part of what they want helped, As a therapist, sometimes I'm thinking, to me, I think therapy would be a better option than this. I can only hope that the programme do. There is a lot of responsibility held with maths, and I do enjoy watching it as a guilty pleasure, but it's every single season there will get to be a point where I'll go, ethically, I'm not sure that this is right. I can't trust that they are looking after people properly in this, because, the fallout of this for Grace and potentially Ash could have been so distressing for both of them. I mean, like, the world seems to be more on Ash's side, so I'm thinking it's probably going to be okay. But, when you're portrayed as a villain online, it seeps out into the real world. She's also not a cancelled man that can go on a cancelled man podcast either, is she? So, but I'm sure I'm just hoping that she stays strong in this, that she gets the support that she needs. And I hope that maths will try and be responsible in their casting, in their wraparound care, in the way that and think carefully about the way that they're portraying people. They've done this before with, like, vegans, trying to portray them, tapping into something in society to try and sort of get people to it causes the drama in the relationships and causes creates the villain effect in them. But it could be really, really harmful. So, well, who knows what'll happen in the rest of maths, because, hey, the stories are all over the place, aren't they? They'll probably walk back into the reunion being a couple or something and be properly married for all I know, and then this video will be completely out of date. Okay, well, thanks so much for listening. Take care. Bye.